Hello, my name's Connor, and we probably haven't met before, but it's nice to meet you. What you're watching me do is put these keys from my childhood piano up on the wall behind my new desk. I just got a new studio, and I want to talk today about how I got here, how I managed to make music my living, the good, the best, the ugly, and my thoughts on the industry at large and life. Also, we're going to watch some cringy videos of when I was like 13 years old, so that'll be fun. And a few other surprises, so stick around. I'll see you on the other side. It's Wednesday, November 6th, 2024, the day after the US presidential election. And I had this video slotted to record today, and then I woke up. That became an increasingly difficult task. But what I will say is I feel very motivated to do things, and I think I'm going to channel that energy today. The energy is manic. And so if I give scattered manic energy during this, there's the context for you. The founding fathers would want me to record this video. No, they would probably call me a and shoot me. They're not here, so let's get into it. I make music for a living, and most of that work is doing cover gigs at events, private parties, restaurants, whatever. And I am a songwriter and an artist as well. I have my own project. Those things don't perform as well monetarily at all. It's no secret that the music industry is in essentially shambles, and there is no money left. There's certainly no money left for people who are not breaking millions of streams. And there's no incentive to change that because of the current structure of the system and of the American industrial complex at large. So a note on playing covers, because I know it's not everyone's favorite thing to do. I'm far less opposed to it than I was when I first started out. I've begun to look at covers as paid practice. In the realism of the scenario that we find ourselves in right now, you need to have a side hustle or a full-time job. It's pretty much impossible at this point to subsist off of doing one thing. There is a way to make that system work for you. In my dream life, I just have all the resources I want to create music, all the time I want to create music. I don't have to worry about doing anything but creating music. I filled this extra need for money in with something that I don't hate doing, and that actually allows me to get better at music in general, which feeds, of course, if I'm making a record. So when I'm playing a gig, I'm practicing. When I'm learning a new song, I am getting new ideas for something that I could use in my own creative endeavors. I guess if you're like a graphic designer and your dream is to like satiate all your creative energy and do projects that make you feel like you're a part of something bigger than yourself, taking the junior designer job at Johnson & Johnson might not curl your toes, but it's definitely going to make you better at what you do. So yeah, playing cover songs is certainly less emotionally and creatively gratifying than sitting down at this desk and producing a record, singing over the record. I enjoy the latter more, but the situation is what it is. And so I invite this other thing into my life that helps me make money and get better at singing and playing. There's also this concept of however you do one thing, you do everything. I'm paraphrasing there, but there is this kind of idea that like whatever energy you have waiting tables is the energy you're going to have as the CEO of Nike. I believe in that to an extent. And I think when I was waiting tables, I was so frustrated all the time because I felt like, how am I going to get out of this? Like I'm constantly just like stuck in this thing that I hate. And I really did hate it for a while. And I did it for like 10 years. This might be a little woo-woo, but like the moment that I finally was able to leave the restaurant industry is when I feel like I mastered the task of just not being miserable doing it and not having this really negative attitude about what it was. I never learned what needed to be, was what was being taught to me. Like I never took those lessons in. Like be nice to everyone, even if they're not nice to you. Just be nice. Like you're going to feel better about it if you're just nice. Don't take anything personally. A restaurant job will teach you that in a heartbeat, bro. Like this is not about you. This person's hungry. They're going through a divorce. they need a knish, like immediately. Like let them do what they need to do in this space and keep doing your operation, which is literally get your check and leave. It's not going to help you to get emotionally upset over this person that's with you. Like it's just not going to help anybody. So when I stopped doing that is when I was able to like put my 2 weeks in at my last restaurant and just go for it. Interestingly enough, when I finally did close that door, because I knew energetically that it was just time to close that chapter. I no longer belong in this space. This is not for me anymore. As soon as I acknowledged that that was true and acted on the fact that that was true, when I put my 2 weeks in at this sushi place, I swear to God, I started getting booked down. I only was able to stop waiting tables when I learned everything and took everything from that experience that I needed to take. And I firmly believe that I will be able to stop playing cover gigs and just focus on things that make me feel satiated creatively when I have taken all that there is to take from this experience, when I have learned all I need to learn. Yeah, not my favorite thing to do, but if I approach it optimistically, there is so much to learn here. So I'm officially on my way, and I'm not feeling it today. I had my friend's birthday, and we played Kings, and typically I try not to make a habit of partying before a gig, but your friend only has a birthday however many times they have a birthday, so. But it makes me think of like a pretty important point, I think, that there are a lot of jobs that you can show up at and not feel very good for. And there's a lot of jobs that you clock in for and then the work is over. And you're not always carrying it around and you're done when it's done. But with your voice, you carry it around with you all the time. And you kind of have to think about it all the time in terms of protecting it and making sure that it feels good. And since you have it on you all the time, when you're having a bad day, whether it's emotional or physical or situational, whatever it is, if you're having a bad day, if I feel tense and stressed, the body tenses up and stresses out, and the voice is literally just an instrument. And if I have a tense neck, for example, there's not enough room in my neck and space in my neck for the sound to kind of travel around, and you can hear that difference. And it just reminds me that I'm like always at the mercy of this thing that I do. I love it so much, but sometimes I wish I could just like have a bad day and just have a bad day, you know?
Why are you still so afraid? Where's the fire? What's the hurry about? You better cool it off before you burn it out. You got so much to do and only so many hours in a day. You know that when the truth is is told that you can get what you want, you can just get old. You're gonna kick off before you even get halfway through. Ooh, and will you realize Vienna waits for you?
So how I got into this whole thing is I realized at kind of a younger age that like I'm good at a lot of things. I'm not great at really anything besides singing. I would say I'm a great singer. I'm good at a lot of things though. And I also have a ton of interests, and that's a blessing and a curse. The fact that I have a lot of interests allows me to explore a lot of different passions, projects, territories, and it opens me up for greater opportunity, but it also means that I can't focus on one thing. Like I have a really, really hard time dedicating an hour to anything. Usually I'm hopping around between like 6 projects at once, and I'm just pushing all these large projects forward. But that's how I thrive personally. And so I realized I'm a generalist, and being a generalist is kind of hard to commodify. The thing that I've given the most time to, the 10,000 hours of it all, is without a doubt music. I've been singing for fun since I was probably 5 or 6. I figured out early on that I would need to learn how to accompany myself to make this, a serious thing. So I taught myself keys, and then I ended up going to musical theater school, and most of my time now is spent working on music. So it's the thing I'm the most qualified to do. It was kind of the path of least resistance. It's the thing I'm best at that I don't mind doing. I think the first time that I really emotionally connected with music was when I was file sharing or like on Tumblr, and somebody would post like this weird sapphic soundbite that I'm like, I have to know what this is. And then we get in a conversation about it, and there's this community around it. And being a part of that was really fun. I really liked like the Tumblr days. I would go on LimeWire, rip a bunch of music, and like I just thought it was so fun having all these files that are chaotically named, and you have to like sort them out yourself and like put the album art in. I used to go so hard for it. I actually do miss that. And one thing I really do love about being an artist is all my friends are kind of like file sharing all the time. That is so sexy to me. I'm into that. When I realized I was a good singer, I asked for a keyboard. I received said keyboard. I think I wrote the letters of the notes on the piano to help me learn, like with a Sharpie or something. And I would play a chord like this, like literally like that. And then I learned. It's something that I still do work on every day, and by gigging, I'm practicing all the time. This also coincides with like my emo phase, so I didn't have a lot of friends. When I would go on the internet, I would see people that are like into music the way I was and into the same music. I wasn't seeing that at my high school just because like I'm from a small town. I got really emotionally attached to music, and I started learning the songs that I really liked. Electric Feel by MGMT. I learned, not Misery Business. Miserable at Best. It's a really sad song. Classic. I learned these songs. I started learning the stuff I wanted to learn, and that is how I got better at it. And I mean, if you have a kid or something and you want them to be good at music, my biggest recommendation of everything is to allow them to learn what they want to learn. I'm a proponent of, if the kid doesn't want to play the classical music workbook, why are we making them? Do they want to learn espresso? They'll learn more about music by learning espresso than they will by half engaging to this like paradigm that we have in play. Like you don't need to know how to read music to be a successful musician. I know how to read music, but I can't read it quick enough to like sight read, or even like to have the patience to sit down and learn For Elise by sheet music. No go. I made a lot of YouTube videos, and I was doing it for like the fun of it, not even like checking the views. I don't think I ever gave a shit. And then when I was in high school, I was starting to become kind of a dirtbag. I was just hanging out with the wrong girls. I was smoking cigarettes and stuff. Nothing crazy, but I was erring towards dirtbag. A friend of mine saw me at like this open mic. I used to play this open mic called Rick's Music. Shout out Rick's Music. And they were like, you have to come audition for the High School Musical. And like, I had never thought about it, too busy smoking cigarettes downtown or whatever. I ended up at the audition, thank God, because the musical theater program in my high school was really, really special for a lot of reasons. I met all my friends that I still talk to from my hometown, and I learned that I love to be on stage. And I had so much fun with the collaborative process of like working with a bunch of people and making something that's bigger than yourself. We're all working really hard towards this goal, and then we all put on this presentation at the end of it, and it just felt very tangible to me. Being backstage and just hearing the crowd murmur and that kind of buzzy feeling that you get from that, I love that. Joining the musical altered the trajectory of my life because I ended up going to musical theater school. I went to a conservatory in New York called AMDA. I have a piece of paper that says I went there. They still ask for money. I studied musical theater. I had a really fun time. It was like 12 hours a day, singing, dancing, acting. Probably the hardest I've ever worked at anything. I had a really, really fun time. When I got out of school, I went to a few auditions, and I did land one job. It was like a production of Grease. Oh my God, I've been in Grease so many times, and I will never do it again. Don't call anything else. Anything. I will be in Baby Shark the musical. Don't call me about Grease. After like probably 2 or 3 months auditioning after school, I was like, this is just not for me. And I decided that I would pursue a career in music instead. And that choice is no less ridiculous, but it allows a lot more agency. My frustration with musical theater was I was always waiting for someone to hire me, or I was always waiting for work. I had gotten really good at singing while I was at AMDA. I had a really good vocal teacher, and I just kind of worked for 6 years in New York trying to make it happen, and never really got any traction. So yeah, I moved to LA peak COVID, like May of 2020. I moved to Los Angeles. It was scary town. I don't have to tell you what happened. You remember. That was really bad. When I got here, there was no live music to be had because nothing was open. There was a year where like I just couldn't really do anything. So I just worked in a restaurant again, and then I got this job in music publishing that ended up being kind of a bust. And I was really lost and really confused. I got another job at a restaurant, worked at a sushi place, and that was my last restaurant job. Like I talked about earlier, I just was like, I can't do this anymore. So as soon as I quit that last job, I ended up getting a bunch of repeat clients. I had my profile on Gig Salad up with verified reviews, and people were hitting me up a lot. Like I just started to get like a lot of work, and I was like, oh, I wonder if I'm going to be able to make this work for a year. And that was 2 years ago. So through 2023 and 2024, like I just spent a lot of time hustling. About halfway through 2024 is when I really started to have these like pretty existential feelings about like, what am I doing with my life? Saturn return vibes, maybe. I think it's kind of the thing that like a lot of us feel, of wanting our time on earth to count for something and wanting to have like a tangible impact on the world. And when you are an artist, it can feel really, really frivolous sometimes. I think there have been a lot of points in my life where like a major historical thing is happening and I'm going to sing Thinking Out Loud by Ed Sheeran at like a cocktail hour. It can feel really frivolous. And I still haven't worked it out in terms of how I truly feel about what music's role is in a time like the one we exist in. I would say it makes people happy sometimes and eases maybe the suffering that comes with being alive today. So in that sense, I do feel good about it. But like there were certain days where I would just wake up and like I'd have a gig and I'm like, why? Like I should be doing anything else with my life besides like going to sing this song. Like it just seems kind of stupid sometimes, to be completely honest with you. And not only that, but I have been doing it for years at this point. So I started to get just like also kind of bored of doing it and having those feelings that you'd have with any job. I just started to dread going to work or just be thinking about it all day. Like, I don't want to do that. Like, especially the nursing home gigs, because I will say that the nursing home gigs are the hardest gig I play. I'm drenched in sweat when I play a nursing home gig, which is so strange. I feel like I look crazy because it's like very well air conditioned in these places and nobody's moving. And then I'm just like drenched in sweat. But the reason I'm drenched in sweat is because I will play for an hour and the entire hour all eyes are on me. And it's like that level of being perceived is something that I don't often do. Not to mention that, people in nursing homes are at a particular stage in their life and the filter is not there. Like if they're not liking it, like they will let you know. They will tell you or they will leave or or they'll give you a stink face or they'll heckle you. Like I've definitely been heckled at nursing homes before. Yeah, I would say that's the hardest gig I do. But I just started to, in general, feel like things were not fun anymore. And not only were they not fun, but my job is not important. I could be doing things that tangibly affect the world in a better way. So my solution to this was I talked to my mom about it. She is the smartest person alive. And one thing that she has pressed into me over the years is this idea of like, find out what it's worth to you to do this thing. And if you can get that from the thing, then keep doing it. And if you can't get that from the thing, then drop it. This is an incredibly hard practice to put into place if you are dependent on the thing for a stable living, to pay your rent, to pay your bills. And I'm not even necessarily condoning or endorsing this as a way to live. But sometimes I think making yourself slightly less available has this universal energy spread effect on making you more desirable. When I think of celebrities that I really with and I really want to know more about, and I'm like gripped and engaged in that way, it's the most mysterious ones. Like, it's all the people that never show up. We love Beyonce so much. When's the last time you saw her doing anything normal? That level of availability and cutting off availability and saying no to stuff, I think, is a really good way to make yourself more desirable. So I started saying no to stuff that I didn't like. Mostly that came in the form of me asking for a raise, which when you work for greedy people is going to be a no. I did a gig at the in Beverly Hills. I asked for a raise. I have not been asked back since. That was my version of saying no to stuff, because worst case scenario, I ask for more money and they say yes, and then I'm getting paid exuberantly better than I was before for the same thing. Most people decided that my new rate was too much for them and said no. Fair enough. So that comes back to the idea of like, say what it's worth to you, ask for what it's worth to you, and if they can't match it, then they can't match it, and that's okay. Like, it's a win-win either way. So yeah, I think that's when I stopped feeling existential about stuff, because if I was having a bad gig, chances are I was being paid enough for it that I can be good with that. I can make myself feel good about that. The main other reason why I was able to drop some of those existential feelings is I leaned into the community aspect of it. I started asking other musicians to play, even if it's going to mean I get less of a cut for the gig. I enjoy the collaborative process so much more than like the solo individual process. And if there's an opportunity for me to work with other musicians and get better together, or just have a fun night playing music, I will take that every time over the opportunity to play alone. So I leaned into playing with more people, making things fun in that way. You know, especially like with the results of this election, like I think the only way forward is to drop the individualism. And that's been like, I guess, kind of the predominant message throughout my whole my last 4 years, I guess, is like, I used to really want stardom and to be individually perceived. And I don't know, I guess I always just wanted to be a pop star. And that's just shifted for me now. The main reason is because it just doesn't seem that fun. It seems kind of upsetting. And some people handle it better than others. But what I find more gratifying is being a part of a larger thing, even if it's in a very small way. That is kind of scratching that itch of you are doing something that's a little bigger than yourself, as opposed to just filming myself making content for hours on end, which I do that too, because that's kind of a necessary part of this whole thing. But I would rather spend my time on organizing community, putting together events, and making a scene here in Los Angeles. That is more gratifying to me. If I were a politician, I would do it through those means. If I were a coffee shop owner, I would do it through those means. I happen to be a musician, and so I'm going to use music to organize community. I think that's my best purpose on earth at this moment. So yeah, work with your friends.
Say you got a girl, how you want me? How you want me when you got a girl? The feeling is reckless, and no, I'm not selfish, and no, I'm not desperate. Getting on the love, falling on the love, do it to your last. Hanging out your back all over your lap. Is you coming home? Is you out with her? I don't care long as you're here by 10:30, no later than drop them drawers. I know what you want. My man is your man, her, that's her man too. My man is your man, her, that's her man. Tuesday and Wednesday, Thursday and Friday, I just keep them satisfied through weekend. You like 9 to 5, I'm the weekend, oh. Make him lose his mind every weekend. You take Wednesday, Thursday, and just send him my way. Think I got it covered for the empty my bank account. Buy that bill with a pipe, buy that bill with a pipe. I might empty my bank account. Buy that bill with a pipe, buy that bill with a pipe. I might.
Okay. This is going to be vulnerable, I fear. Oh, That's my ring, babe. So we're gonna do a fun little exercise that that I dread, actually, existentially. So we're gonna do something where we watch back some old videos, and you know what? I'm just gonna remember to be supportive of this young boy. I am seeking to scrub the internet of this content by the time this video is to surface. Unfortunately, it's an old YouTube account that I don't remember how to get into, so love. Okay, so yeah, we're being vulnerable. Oh, that one I remember actually being quite good. Oh my god, somebody commented, "Where did you go? I miss you."
And let your arrow flow straight to my lover's heart for me. Nobody but me.
Okay, first impression, love his spirit. He's doing good. He's hitting the notes, obviously. He is giving it a little twirl, a little bit of a spin. He's giving it a little bit of a limp wrist. And I remember I was heavily into Amy Winehouse at the time. I feel like she's coming through. Also, this is definitely a cover that I did because Amy Winehouse did a cover of it. Here's the hack. If you want a really cool cover, do something that people are not. Don't do a famous cover of a cover. I don't think that helps anybody, personally. I think you should come up with your own version of a song that has never been done. The song Valerie that Amy Winehouse covered, that is a song by the Zootons. The Zootons? I think it's the Zootons. That song is random as hell and doesn't sound anything like how she did it. Find a song, find an indie rock song that hasn't gotten its flowers and flip that. What I was saying, if I did this now, which I do sing this song, I sing it in a much more chill way. The melody's beautiful, the lyrics are beautiful. Just sing the song very normally. Shout out to my brother on guitar. I'm gonna go to a different one now. There are so many. Oh god, an original. Let's save the original. That scares me. This, before we even get into it, is the angstiest song ever. I think this choice is so cute. Also, the blonde hair. Look at those foot. Look at that Tumblr wall, y'all. Look at this Tumblr ass wall. What was even on there?
Feel the breath as she's sleeping next to me. Sharing pillows and coffee.
Why am I giving baritone?
She can feel my heart fell asleep to its beat.
It's not bad though.
Under blankets and warm sheets.
Okay.
If only I could be in that bed again.
Okay, we fell off. We flopped.
If only you were me instead of him. Okay,
Some much needed context. I must have been 13, 14 at this time. That is how a lot of singers sounded at the time. If only you were me instead of him. Like, that wasn't out of nowhere. That came from a set of very specific inspirations. This was Obama era. Just to give you that context, because it doesn't even make sense now. This was Obama era. Okay, that's all I need to say. We need to open our mouth, girl, and stop. I feel like my mouth wasn't open. I feel like those words were coming out of my nose. Like my nose learned how to pronounce words and started singing. I don't remember any of these. Chris Brown? This one flopped. This one did not do well.
Too much light in this window.
Okay.
Don't wake me up.
Okay.
Only coffee and sugar inside my cup.
Okay, but the growth is kind of crazy. I said, let me chop this blonde hair off and let me go take less. I don't know why I got so much better in... What is the time difference on those? 12 years. And then the other one is 13 years. That's a 1 year difference. I mean, I started to eat. Yeah, come on.
Don't wake me up. Don't wake me up. Don't wake me.
Oh my god. Oh, why would you play it wrong right away and then still post a video? Just start over. Okay, this one was also 13 years ago, so this is Okay, why 13 years ago was I singing like in full cursive? And then in 1 year I learned. I must have switched up my whole identity. Turn me on with your electric feel. Oh. I do this cover a lot. I love this cover still. And I like to think it's a little better now. This is not bad though. Again, the spirit, like I came on here being pretty scared. I think it's scary, but it's not horrendous. It's not horrendous. There's a vision there. It's not visionless. Okay, we're gonna hit an original now, and I need to keep that same energy. Be positive. Oh, little edit. Last night you said I'm sorry, and the words they came out right. This is a year after that Electric Feel video. I'm not saying I sound like Whitney Houston, but I'm definitely doing better. Definitely doing better. I can't forget what you promised. This is not a bad song. Love me. Who heard him? Who heard him? All right. I feel honestly, I thought this was gonna be really hard to watch, and it was just sort of hard to watch. So I give myself credit. I think he tried a lot of stuff, and that's what you got to do. So that's good. So I'm feeling good. All right, this was fun. I feel good. I'm gonna go though. So now, at this part of the video, I'm going to share some tips and tricks on how I have managed to make the machine run better. This is specifically for musicians, I guess, but a lot of these are universal. So if you are trying to grow your like Etsy plant business, maybe this will help you too. I don't know. Maybe it'll help nobody. Maybe nobody watches this video. This is all in the back of my mind. First tip, this applies to any industry, any person, anything. Okay, this is big. The business card shouldn't be on paper. That's my opinion. Unless you are a gallery owner and your business card is beautiful, weird shape, matte finish, gorgeous color. Like unless it's a product and it's really part of your experience, we're gonna lose it. What I recommend is doing a digital card. This is so easy. Make a contact for yourself, a brand new contact for yourself, and have this be your business card. I'm gonna show you. Put a little picture in, have it be your, include your phone number, your email, socials, all that stuff, and put your title underneath your name. Singing pianist. I need to update the picture. I don't even look like that anymore. But regardless, here's why this works so well. When people ask me, do you have a card? I say, oh, I don't have a physical one, but I have a digital one. I can text it to you if you like. Great. They give me their number. I text them the card. I follow up in a week. Do you still need music for your party on the 40th? I'm booked. You're not only giving people the means to contact you, you're giving yourself the means to contact them. And it's a very subliminal way to do it, because if I were like, oh, I would love to follow up with you about this, like who's going to give me their number? Nobody. But if they're like getting the asset of having your card out of this, I've never, ever, ever had someone be like, oh, no, I don't feel comfortable with that. Girl, they're going to be fine with it. And you're going to have their number to follow up. So I highly recommend this. This is like my biggest trick, chef's kiss. Okay, this is specifically a music thing. If you are a musician, you're hired to play an event, and you're running your own sound, start quiet. Start quieter than you think you should. Have them ask you to turn it up. The last thing you want is to be playing and for the person to come over and be like, can you turn it down? That makes me feel like I am a sewer rat. Okay, I just don't like the way that feels. It makes me feel annoying. It makes me feel like I'm in the way. And it's in my head, and I don't like that feeling. And also, they don't want to ask you that. Let them ask you to turn it up. That's a great feeling. This next tip, if you're starting out, learn songs as you go. It's okay to bring your laptop. Nobody's ever complained about it. Nobody cares that I don't know songs by heart. It would be kind of a tall order to know 100 songs by heart or whatever for a gig. So learn songs as you go. So I do have a spreadsheet of all my music, and I just put like the song name, the artist name, and then a link to the Ultimate Guitar. So I've used it recently by making a copy of the spreadsheet, putting a checkbox on the left and sending it to clients and saying like, check off the ones you want. Or like, if you check off 5 songs, I can kind of like expand the vibe based on those 5 choices. It just gives people more agency over the situation and allows them to kind of pick the music, which I think is a really smart idea. Yeah, it's worked for me well in the past. So I highly recommend doing that. Cataloging it in that way and then making it available to your client, I think is a good move. I'm super type A though. So I mean, not everybody's going to be doing, the most like that, but I am. This kind of relates, no more songs than you think you should. The first gig I played was a Christmas party, and I think I played each song like 3 times through. And the woman who hired me, she left a really good review. It was a 5-star review, but then in her like private notes to me, she was like, hey, we noticed you sang like the same song a lot. Like, make sure you learn more material for next time. I appreciate her a lot for keeping that between us. Thank you for not putting it in the review. And I did. After that, I just started to know way more songs than I would ever need. They do notice, I think, if you keep playing the same songs. So I try to never repeat a song during a set, and that requires knowing just a ton of music. There is this like need to do things alone, but you don't have to do stuff alone. Barter with your friends. I will exchange services any day. If I have somebody come in and, shoot something for me or film something for me or sing backgrounds for me or something, and I'll get them back by doing the same for them, helping them shoot content or whatever it might be. Also, it's just more fun. It brings in new perspectives. It'll make your music sound better. It'll make you feel better, and it'll make everything go better. When I think about the purpose of music, I still have conflicting thoughts. But here's some anecdotal stuff. There are 2 types of cover gigs. There's one type where nobody's listening. I am there as a piece of furniture. I played this high school reunion, and I was in the side room by the bar, and they hadn't seen each other in like 30 years. So they were all catching up and yelling, and it was very loud, and there was alcohol, and like nobody was listening to me. I have to sound remotely good to keep the ambiance light, but nobody's actively listening. And then there's another type of gig where everybody is super engaged. See 10 minutes ago in this video when I was talking about the nursing home gig. That is one of those where everybody is so actively engaged. And I prefer on that spectrum to be right in the middle. That way you avoid the ego death of not being listened to and just shouting into the void, and also the glare of like 100 people for an hour straight. Now, if it was my own music and I stood behind it in a way, obviously the goal is to perform for people and to share music with people. So if it's music that I wrote, I want people to be engaged, of course. But for these cover gigs, like the role is background music. And I like that. That's like fun for me because I love just like curating the vibe. So that's fun for me. But there are a few gigs that stand out in my history of times when I was there to like fulfill an emotional need. The 2 strongest examples of this that come to mind are both celebration of life gigs. There was one gig I played where a woman had just passed and she was very young. And the client asked me to play like really upbeat music. And essentially it was just her favorite songs from the last, like I think she was like 30 something. And he asked me to play like a lot of Ariana Grande, Rihanna, like a lot of R&B from the last like 30 years, 20 years. And I left that gig feeling obviously really sad because the event was really, really sad. She was very young and she seemed like a beautiful person. But I left feeling like I was able to like help decorate this really painful moment in a way that made things feel more palatable. And that is really like what we're doing here. Like that's what artists are doing, is just to like decorate and lubricate the pain and the existential dread of being alive. And so that felt really important to me. That particular gig felt like a really benchmark moment of like, oh, there is a purpose to this. It's not frivolous. I never allow myself to feel upset about the fact that this is my job because truly it's so silly. I don't allow myself to complain about it because I feel privileged to have this opportunity to do this type of work. There are pros and cons to it, and I will now go over what I think of as the pros and cons. Pros. Wait, this is a con actually. Oh, I thought it was a pro, but it's a con. Being a freelancer, and let's start with the con. Being a freelancer in general, not for everybody. Truly not for everybody, because you never know. Everything they say is true. You never know where the next check's coming from. And my issue with freelancing, although I'm glad I do it because I don't want to work for anybody else ever, I have a really hard time setting boundaries. I will be in the studio until 11:30 at night from 11 in the morning. I do have a really bussin' morning routine because I can start working whenever I want. So I have like a 5.5 hour morning routine. But after that morning routine, all I do is work. And if I do decide to clock out at 11:30 and like go watch a little show or like paint my nails or whatever I am still clocked in. Until I go to sleep, I'm clocked in thinking, et cetera, et cetera. Yeah, I find it's hard to set boundaries. And that's my biggest con with being a freelancer. In general, any type of freelancer, you're going to feel that way. I think you're going to feel that way because since you never know where the next check's coming from, the guilt to be productive is really, really hard. Another con, the physical toll of lifting gear up all the time. I don't think I need to say that much about this. This is the worst part of it. I hate lifting gear. You see how big this well, you kind of can't see, but this is big and it's large and it's huge. And I have to lift it up every day. With the stand, I pack it all in my little Toyota Camry. Girl, no. Also, I'm usually inside. I'm either learning music in here, I'm playing a gig inside a location. It's very rare that they're outside. It's very rare that I get outside a lot. I mean, my production work happens right there. I also do video editing for clients, and I also obviously have this channel. So there's just so much indoor. I wish I could go outside more. And I you know what? I can. I just need to add another 5 hours to my morning routine. Okay, pros. It's romantic as hell. I'm working late because I'm a singer. Like literally just so... There's a reason why that line hits, and it's because like a lot of people want to do this, and it's romantic. The most romantic part is I just see so many people and I meet so many people, and I'm just always seeing social dynamics play out, and I'm watching dates happen, and I'm like kind of a fly on the wall, like just observing everybody's stuff, and I just love it, dude. Another pro is like different work locations all the time. I'm the type of person that can't just be in a cubicle. Even just working out of the studio sometimes feels really claustrophobic. So having to go new places and see new places, I see really beautiful locations a lot. Like I'll see this gorgeous country club in Thousand Oaks one day, and then like this weird industrial loft downtown. I see a lot of cool stuff. So I think that's really fun. So to wrap it up, it's not going to make you a lot of money, but I say go for it. Especially if you're in your 20s, dude. Like, don't let the fear stop you from doing anything you want to do. And this conception that you can never start over if things aren't going well, and that you have to choose your identity early on and then just kind of ride with that, it's just not true. You can change whenever you want. And even if it's your hobby, man, like just run with it. Just go for it. Like it's life is too short. That's what I have to say. And I just love doing this work, and I have a blast, and I wouldn't trade it for the world. Yeah. I think that's all I have to say about this whole thing is do what fills you up. Do what fills you up. And it's not going to fill you up every day if you start making money with it. But discipline is the way through that. The only way out is through. Keep doing it. Keep practicing. Keep getting better. And at the end of the day, if worse comes to worse and it never works out for you, you spent your life doing something that made you feel full. That's pretty sincere and earnest, and I think that's where we should cut it. I'll see you next time. Thank you.
When the taste of your lips, I'm on a ride. You're toxic, I'm slipping under with the taste of the poison paradise. I'm addicted to you, don't you know that you're toxic?